I'm excited about this topic because, well, point blank, I have made more money with CreateSpace than I've made with Amazon Kindle. And I actually got started. The big reason for that is I got started with Amazon Publishing, actually as a self-published author. I got started with CreateSpace. I love CreateSpace. And it took me a little while to get into Kindle. So I actually know more about how CreateSpace operates. I know more about where the royalties come from, the sweet spot in terms of pricing, in terms of distribution, in terms of what they're looking for. So I'm looking forward to this just because I love CreateSpace so much. Now I don't know if Jay covers this in the mind map. I took a pretty close look at it, but I don't remember seeing this. One of the reasons why CreateSpace is so cool, and Jay, I'll turn it over in just a moment, but one of the reasons why I just love CreateSpace, probably the biggest reason, and a lot of people don't know this, despite the look and feel, and despite me, jumping from the up and down from the rooftops and from the mountains screaming this out. But Amazon actually owns CreateSpace. They bought out this little company called CreateSpace many years ago. I don't know how many years ago now, but they bought out CreateSpace. It is Amazon's print-on-demand publishing arm. So for self-published authors, such as yourself, or folks who want to become self-published authors, it's actually an Amazon company. I love that because you know that you're directly tied and you're directly connected to Amazon, and I really dig that. Once I saw that, I was like, oh, geez, any other competitor of CreateSpace is if they're either going to get crushed completely or they're going to fall to the wayside because this is completely and totally under the Amazon umbrella. That's pretty sexy. That means you've got the protection of Amazon, and I like to say it's got legs. It's got legs to run and grow. It's got breathing room. It's just protected, in other words, by Amazon, and that's a good thing. You also get the nice user interface. You also get the nice, step-by-step, this is how to get the job done, usability that you get with Amazon. So I'm excited about that. That's fun. I know, Jay, you're going to touch on some of those things early on, but I wanted folks to know where I'm coming from, where a lot of my sales have come from, and why I like CreateSpace so much. And with that, Jay, I'll turn it over to you. I'll jump in where it makes sense, but otherwise, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. That was the perfect sort of introduction to my first node here. What is CreateSpace? And of course, you just mentioned it. It's Amazon's print-on-demand service for paperback books. Yes, at one point in time, paperback books, not too long ago, it was all about paperback books. Before Kindle, before all this ebook craze, before all these devices, it was all about the physical book. I have a library of physical books behind me right here. I'm still attached to them. I don't want to let them go. Every time I'm still moving the same boxes of books around that I've had, since I was in college and before. Some people use books as furniture. People love paperback books, and that is exactly what we're tapping into here with CreateSpace. And as John mentioned, yes, it's owned by Amazon, which has many, many advantages that we're going to cover here in a little bit. There's different, you don't have to use CreateSpace, by the way, to take advantage of print-on-demand publishing. And by the way, print-on-demand publishing is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's the idea that your book doesn't even exist in the physical world out there, except as a bunch of ones and zeros on some digital server, until someone actually purchases it, and it's printed up on an individual basis per order. That's exactly what they mean on by print on demand. And certainly there's other choices. You have other choices other than Amazon for that. There's a website called Lulu. There's a website called, I think it's Ex Libris. There's several different print on demand choices and alternatives and options out there for you. But for my money, and just to second John's emotion, there's absolutely no reason for you to go anywhere else outside of Amazon, because Amazon is my platform of choice. It's my marketplace of choice. It's the hugest, most recognizable, most trusted. It's the largest book store period in the world, not just online. That's how they started out. They started out as physical booksellers. And so, uh, why even think about going anyplace else? Because it's seamlessly integrated into the whole Amazon funnel. So before print-on-demand publishing, some of you may have experience with this. What did you do? What were your options? I actually I actually published a book with my dad when I was in high school. It was something that he was using as a tool in his own business. It was called, I can't remember what it was called, but it was some crazy like long-term care insurance book, and he used it as a like a lead generation tool and handed it out to customers, etc., so they could see that he is a published author, he's an authority, and yes, you should purchase long-term care insurance from him. So we actually set up to print a book, to write and edit and format and publish a book on one of the original Apple computers. I think they called it a Macintosh or something like that. It was a tiny little screen, 6 inches by 4 inches on this big cube-looking thing that sat on the desk. It was state of the art, right? But it was kind of pain in the butt. This was all brand new, right? This whole self-publishing craze. That's what we did, and we wrote it, we published it, and then it came time to actually print it up, right? Because we were going to hopefully sell this book, or at least give it out to people. So my dad sort of scoured the town for printers, and he found some guy who said, yes, I'll do it, but it's only in orders of 1,000 books. So he needed to print a run of 1,000 books just for this printer for it to be worth the printer's while, because their setups and all that stuff. So I think it cost him $10,000 to print up 1,000 books, a little less than $10,000. And I'll tell you, we're still kicking around. Last time I was over at their house, I know that they still have boxes in the basement of these books that were never sold or opened up or anything. So that was the option. You could do it yourself. You could go the vanity press option, which is basically paying somebody to do all that for you. Or you could, if you're feeling lucky, you could submit it to a real publisher, whether it's a Big 7 legacy publisher or a second or third tier publisher. You had to, it's like I'm trying to get published by such and such a publishing house. Sure, it's a feather in your cap if you can do it, but there are some real disadvantages as well in terms of what sort of promotional muscle they're going to be willing to put behind your book, what royalty rates. They're not very favorable, by the way. Typical royalty rates for published authors can be less than 10%. Compared to Createspace, which, as you'll see, are between 30 and 40% after printing and shipping and all the other stuff that Amazon takes care of for you. So lots of advantages to print-on-demand publishing via Amazon. So let's get into it.